Hello there, welcome to News from Nepal Television. I'm Smithuki Singh Thamang. Let's begin with the top stories for this afternoon. China announces financial support of over 15 billion rupees to Nepal, expresses commitment to study the feasibility of Kirong-Kathmandu railway. PM Deuba says Nepal army shall be made more professional and well-equipped, directs to be ready for election security. Former U.S. President Trump refuses to answer questions in New York investigation, denies wrongdoing and calls the civil probe a witch hunt. And Spanish club Real Madrid clinches the UEFA Super Cup title, defeating Frankfurt 2-0, manages to enter the list of most title winners. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. China has announced to provide more than 800 million RMB, that is 15 billion Nepali rupees, in aid to Nepal. In addition, China has also expressed its commitment to study the feasibility of the Kirong-Kathmandu railway with grant support. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi announced this in a bilateral meeting with Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Narayan Khadka in Qingdao, China, who is currently on a visit there. A statement issued by the Nepali embassy in Beijing mentioned it was agreed to further promote cooperation in various fields, including trade, connectivity, investment, health, tourism, poverty alleviation, agriculture, disaster management, education, culture, among others. According to the Nepali embassy, Foreign Minister Dr. Khadka, during the meeting, reiterated Nepal's steadfast commitment to the One China policy and ensured that Nepali land will not be used for any activities against China. Both the ministers have decided to establish a joint mechanism for epidemic control at the border port. Foreign Minister Dr. Khadka is on a 3-day official visit to China at the invitation of Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The Election Commission is going to start the election program towards proportional representation for the House of Representatives and the Provincial Assembly from August 24. The Commission has set the date for the parties to submit the closed list of candidates on 25th and 26th of August. The Commission will call for applications from political parties who want to participate in proportional elections on August 23. The parties will have to submit the applications from 26th to 28th of August.
आउँदो असोज 2 गते र 3 गतेमा त्यो चाहिँ राजनीतिक दलहरुबाट उम्मेदवारी लिने र त्यसपछि त्यसलाई छानबिन गर्ने, दलहरुले आवश्यक सच्याउनु पर्ने कुराहरु गर्ने लगायतका विषयवस्तुहरु गरेर दशैंको अगावै अर्थात असोजको 15 गते भित्रमा त्यसलाई अन्तिम रूप दिइसक्छौं, उहाँहरु उम्मेदवार बनिसक्नुहुन्छ.
The announcement of the closed list of candidates is scheduled to be published on October 8. The Commission has already approved the schedule for registering the nominations of direct candidates for the House of Representatives and the Provincial Assembly on October 9. There's a legal provision that a person whose name is included in the closed list for proportional representation cannot be a candidate for a direct representation. Under the proportional election system, considering the country as a constituency, the candidate who votes for the party and represents the party in proportion to the total number of votes received by each party will be elected as a member of the House of Representatives. The Nepal Electricity Authority (NEA) has witnessed an increase by 164% in its annual income. The state-owned electricity authority has projected its annual net profit of rupees 16,090 million in the fiscal year 2021-22, while it had earned up only rupees 6,100 million in the fiscal year 2020-21. NEA's Executive Director Kulman Gising shared that the annual income of the authority has exceeded rupees 100 billion according to its unprocessed fiscal details of the fiscal year 2021-22. With this, the NEA has been established as the highest income generating and profit-making public enterprises in Nepal. The sales income has upped with the rise in the energy consumption by 27%. Power export also increases. The NEA has been successful to increase energy production by around 16% from the powerhouses owned by the NEA, he added. Gising further shared that the energy leakage has also reduced and other income of the authority also went up, which resulted in the increment of its net profit. The country recorded highest daily death of 3 people in 6 months due to COVID-19 on Wednesday. Ministry of Health and Population said a total of 868 new cases of COVID-19 infection have been confirmed in the same period. According to the ministry, new cases of infections were confirmed from 6,705 tests across the country. Active cases load in the country has reached 8,885. Time for a break now. We shall be back with more updates. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Now the international update. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said he invoked the Fifth Amendment on Wednesday and wouldn't answer questions under oath in the long-running New York civil investigation into his business dealings. Trump arrived at New York Attorney General Letitia James's offices on Wednesday morning, but sent out a statement more than an hour later, saying he declined to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. Anything he said during the deposition could have been used against him in a criminal case. While James' investigation is civil in nature, the Manhattan District Attorney is running a parallel criminal probe. Trump did not speak with the media upon leaving the Attorney General's office. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday that he believed the length of the conflict in his country would depend on the amount of further support Kiev were to receive from other nations. In his nightly address, Zelensky said the more powerful our weapons are and the greater the range of their uses, the sooner this cruel war will end. He hoped that defense ministers meeting in Copenhagen on Thursday would pledge more assistance to Ukraine. Further support for our state in this war, including weapons, will be discussed, Zelensky said. He also said he has spoken with the presidents of Ghana and the Democratic Republic of the Congo over past 2 days discussing food security. Drug cartel gunmen burned over 2 dozen stores and blocked streets with blazing vehicles in western Mexico in a response to a series of arrests of drug cartel figures, authorities said on Wednesday. Images circulated on social media showed men commandeering cars and buses and setting them on fire late on Tuesday in the middle of roadways. Others showed burned-out convenience stores. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said on Wednesday that soldiers had confronted criminals, including bosses, at a meeting of 2 gangs Tuesday in Jalisco state. Their gangs then spread violence into the states of Jalisco and Guanajuato, Obrador said. Governor of Jalisco, Enrique Alfaro, said on Wednesday no one was injured in the destruction that followed the arrest. He said 5 people had been detained in the raids and 1 suspect was killed but did not identify them. More updates lined up at the other side, but before that, let's take a look at what we have coming up next. Specialists and firefighters from Cuba, Mexico and Venezuela are making progress in controlling the fire at a fuel storage facility in Cuba's Matanzas province. The fire in Cuba's largest fuel storage facility, some 100 kilometers east of the capital, Havana, was triggered by a lightning strike on a tank containing 26,000 cubic meters of Cuban oil on August 5 and later consumed 3 nearby tanks, leaving 1 dead, 14 missing and 125 injured as of Tuesday night. The Cuban fire authorities said all 4 tanks engulfed by flames had collapsed and that fuel was still burning in the tanks and nearby areas. The fire was not fully brought under control and there was still a risk of new fires, the authorities said. Several Cuban Army aircraft have continued to pour water over the site. Meanwhile, relief supplies have been arriving from Mexico and Venezuela. Malian authorities declared 3 days of national mourning to begin on Thursday after a pair of weekend attacks by Islamic extremist groups killed dozens of people across the volatile West African country. In the deadliest recent violence, the Malian army said an attack in the north on Sunday in Gao region left 42 soldiers dead. A statement said that the ambush was carried out by Islamic militants who used arms like drones and artillery. In the other attack Sunday, 5 police officers were killed in the country's south when extremists attacked a police station near the border with Burkina Faso. 3 other officers remained missing after the assault on the Sona border police station, according to Souleymane Traore, the Director General of the National Police. Mali and its international partners have been fighting off extremists for nearly a decade now, and the situation has showed signs of deteriorating after France began withdrawing its troops following a series of disputes with the Malian government. Rescuers were continuing to find survivors and bodies on Wednesday after a building collapsed in Nairobi. The 4-story structure came down early in the afternoon in the Kenyan capital. Red Cross Society's head of disaster management, Michael Ayabe, said the number of people that had been trapped in the rubble was unknown. Officials have said that 3 fatalities had been reported so far. 1 person was also taken to hospital in a critical condition. We still have more updates, but before that, let's take a look at the highlights first. Thousands of Argentine protesters gathered in front of the president's office in Buenos Aires on Wednesday, demanding better incomes, state aid, and a meeting with the new Minister of Economy. The organizers demanded that the government grant a 20,000 peso, $150 bonus to low-income people and improve the quality of the food supplied to the hundreds of soup kitchens run by social organizations. Those demands came amid a surging cost of living exacerbated by COVID-19 and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Sergio Massa, Argentina's new economy minister, took office a week ago in an attempt by President Alberto Fernandez to straighten out the economy and combat rising prices. Now the sports update. Spanish club Real Madrid has emerged victorious in the UEFA Super Cup final. In the match completed this morning, Champions League winner Real Madrid defeated Europa League winner Eintracht Frankfurt 2-0 to win the season's opening title. In the 37th minute of the first half of the match in Helsinki, Finland, centre-back David Alaba scored a pass from Casemiro and gave Real the lead. In the 65th minute of the second half, centre-forward captain Karim Benzema scored the second goal to ensure Real's victory. With this win, Real has included itself in the list of the most Super Cup winners.
Tenders once again.
Serena Williams wore her game face when she stepped out into the stadium for her first match since telling the world she's ready to leave professional tennis. No one knows exactly how many more matches Williams will play before she puts her rackets away for good, and the 40-year-old American exited the National Bank Open on Wednesday night with a 6-2, 6-4 loss to Belinda Bencic. While there were some familiar fist pumps and yells of "come on" during competition, it was only afterward that Williams really allowed her feelings to show, her voice shaking and her eyes welling during an on-court interview when Bencic ceded the spotlight. Williams has won the singles title at Flushing Meadows a half dozen times, first in 1999, most recently in 2014, to go along with 7 championships apiece at Wimbledon and the Australian Open plus 3 at the French Open. And before we say goodbye, the headlines one more time. China announces financial support of over 15 billion rupees to Nepal, expresses commitment to study the feasibility of Kirung-Kathmandu railway. PM Duba says Nepal army shall be made more professional and well-equipped, directs to be ready for election security. Former US President Trump refuses to answer questions in New York investigation, denies wrongdoing and calls the civil probe a witch hunt. And Spanish club Real Madrid clinches the UEFA Super Cup title, defeating Frankfurt 2-0, manages to enter the list of most title winners. That's it for this edition of NTV News. We shall see you back at 6 this evening. Till then, goodbye. Namaste.